Well, hello! Welcome to Dave's Arcade, the first tech stream by myself. Anyway, for this channel. So, you can see that I have a Playfield sitting here, which I'm going to be working on for my friend Mark of Mark's Basement Arcade. And this happens to be a brand new classic Playfield reproductions Playfield. So, well, Dave, why do you need to work on it? It's a brand new Playfield. Well, I want to show you that and kind of give the reasons why. So, let me zoom in here a bit and focus the camera. Let's do this. So, take a look in the light reflection here. Yeah, I think that's good enough to see. Sure. Okay, so if you look in the light reflection here, you kind of see the basically what's happening is there's a slight amount of planking going on. So when I move, and you can see in the light reflection, it kind of has these like little ripples to it. And the reason for that is that's basically what that's called is planking. And so let me come over here and give you a example. Okay. So, here to look at a playfield from the side view. So, for example, if you're looking down at the playfield like this, right? That's the view that I'm going after. So you would think, you have a flat piece of wood, right? Well, it's not exactly that. When you look at it, it kind of goes along, and then you might have an insert here, but there might be like a little divot where that insert connects. Hang on, let me shut off this fan. You might have a little divot, like this is the insert, and then the insert might be cupped. So I'm like thinking in terms of microscopic view, okay? And so that could be a cupped insert, and then you go along, and you could have, this could be a little wear spot or something, and then this could be planking. Okay? So that's essentially what a playfield looks like, under a microscope. Jeremy, what's up? So just kind of going over, this is my crude drawing of looking at a playfield. So this is, like I said, an insert, and then you got, wear spot, and then planking. Okay? Alright, so I'll try to draw this well. When you clear coat any playfield, you are basically, all it's doing is it's adding a whole nother layer right over top, but it's going to fill in all these little crevices, and it's going to follow this contour. Okay, so it's going to fill a little bit, but not all of it. You're still going to have some dips and things like that. That's going to go along. It's going to still do the jaggedy edges like this. And so you have peaks and valleys all the way through it. And so that's where it kind of still shows up. So what you really have to do when you're clear coating a playfield is you have to continue to build up this layer. And so basically all you're doing is you're filling the lows, and then you need to use wet sanding to knock down the highs. So wet sanding and buffing. And so when the clear cures, especially in the wintertime, show you here, I can get this a little clearer. There we go. Okay. Let's see. So you can kind of see those little ridges as you move up the playfield. So you could say, well, Dave, why are you screwing with this? It's cleared, it's fine, but it's not. It doesn't look like glass, and that's what Mark wants. So that's what Mark's gonna get. Basically, what I'm gonna do here is there should be plenty of clear on here. It's just when this cured, focus. When this cured, and I think it has something to do with when the playfield was made. So, for example, in the wintertime, you have moisture content of the wood goes down because that's what happens in the winter. And And then in summer, it's higher because you have humidity in the air. And so you're going to see more or less wood grain on the surface. And then you're coating it with, all clear coat is essentially like an epoxy. And like I said here in this example, all you're doing is you're doing high spots and low spots. Okay? And so in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to knock off the high spot. So essentially, crappy eraser. But essentially I'm going to knock this off and make it flat the whole way. Okay? And since this is a new Playfield, we don't have cupped inserts like you would on an older Playfield to restore it. So, let me back up here. So I don't know yet if I'm going to need to re-clear this. But either way, I have to wet sand it. Because you need a surface. You can't just slop some clear coat on a non-etched surface. It needs to be. You need to take all the shine off of the clear coat anyway. So in that process, I'm going to sand it. This is let's see what I got. 1200 grit, and then I use this is just a piece of metal block, steel, and just wrap it around that, because you want a flat and hard sanding block. I have two. Here's another smaller piece of metal that then you know it's flat. I don't like using there's like foam blocks out there that you can get at like any paint store. The problem with foam blocks is they conform to those ridges that I was talking about, and it'll look like you sanded everything, but it's not necessarily flattening everything. It will take the sheen off of it, but you're not flattening out those high spots that you're trying to. That's how you're going to get that glass look. Okay? So, hey, Outlane Pinball, good to see you. Let me focus up a little bit here. Sorry, these are manual focus cameras. And I got a new microphone with recommendations from Mark's Basement Arcade. So, I got a blue snowball. Seems to work pretty good. So I'm just going to start here in this apron area and just knock down these high spots, and then I'll use I'm just going to do a small area, and then I'll buff it out to show you what it looks like once it's done. So I'm just going to, again, 1200 grit sandpaper. You don't have to go crazy. And honestly, in my experience, you really don't want to do anything. So the lower the number, the heavier the grit. And so as you go higher, it becomes, more and more fine. And so I would say I would not do, if you're planning to buff this out, I would not do anything more than, or anything grittier than 1000 grit. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to buff out the scratches real good. So, just super exciting watching me sand the Playfield. But this is important stuff. And if I do end up needing to re-clear coat this, which I might, and Mark might want me to, I will show you how to do that, because I have a method that I've done several different methods of restoring playfields in the past, and I've done automotive clear coat. I've done just minor touch-ups in that, and do like for example, if you got like a little wear spot, you can touch it up and do like a polyurethane type of thing. I've done water-based stuff. I've done overlays. You name it. I've done all the different methods that people have out there for restoring playfields. And the one that I like to do now is, I'll just show it here quick. Can't find anyone looking. Oh, okay. Dead. Sorry, I'm not the best at pronouncing names. Dead TH. Trying to fix pinball machines, but can't find anyone looking to hire and train. Oh, Fide. Okay. Hire and train you. Okay. Well, you mean, so you're looking to gain some knowledge, but you need a kind of a mentor. That's what you're looking for. Honestly, my suggestion on that. And you live in Minnesota. Well, that's where I moved from. Believe it or not, I lived in Austin, Minnesota, which it's as far, probably about as far away from the Minneapolis as you can get. And so what I did is I joined up on Pinside. This is years ago now, but I made some great friends in that small town, and basically there was only a few pinball guys in that area, and it's kind of when you don't live in a metro area, you need to learn how to fix your own games pretty quick. Otherwise, you're not going to be in pinball very long. So I learned from that. So I would reach out to some folks on Pinside and just introduce yourself, get involved in some leagues if you have any close by, and start learning that way. And then I just kept reading forums and PinWiki, things like that. Soaking up as much knowledge as possible, and now I work for a pinball manufacturer, and that was my resume. So doing stuff like this, restoring games, and honestly, it's all about get in there, get your hands dirty, figure out how it works. There's all kinds of help on forums and Facebook groups and stuff like that, just to kind of learn the ropes. And if you have if you're a little bit mechanically inclined, a lot of the stuff you can figure out pretty well. Oh yes, lots of spam. That's who I used to work for. I used to work for Hormel Foods. But anyway, so yeah, I built the bulk of my collection there, and then I moved to Wisconsin, and I'm just collecting here, so I'm getting there. I think this is gonna work out. Just kind of knock off the highs here. And so when you're wet sanding, make sure that so I have a cup of water here with a little drop of dish soap, and so I am, I guess, classically trained in auto body. I took it in high school, and some of this stuff has stuck with me my whole life. I only think I took it for 3 years, and so learned some painting and welding and stuff like that. And who knew that it'd be super valuable later on in life for this. So, oh yeah, I was going to talk about, got off track a little bit. So different restoration methods of clear coating, right? So for years I did automotive clear coat for, I had a paint booth in my garage, and I set that up. It was literally the size you could pull a car into it, and I could clear coat two Playfields comfortably at a time, which I typically would do. I'd get them ready and then I'd spray them. But then, let's see. Let me catch up here. Mark, what's up? Major Drain Pinball. Enjoyed the Stargazer stream. All right. Thank you. Appreciate you joining. Oh, yep, I'm beating up your Playfield, Mark. V-Day, yes, you've fix appliances right now. Okay. Yeah, then you should be able to pick up pinball repair pretty quick. I mean, you hang out with... So subscribe to Mark's Basement Arcade. He does a lot of EM repair, some solid state stuff. And then Jeremy, Pinball Mayhem, he's on here as well. Go to Pinball Mayhem on YouTube and subscribe there. He does a lot of repair work. If you hang out with us enough, you're gonna learn. So we do this all the time. I don't know about the other guys with Playfield restoration like this, but I've been doing it for a long time, so I am not afraid to. The way I look at it is everything can be fixed. So, and if I screw it up, I know how to fix it. So, I'm going to do a little bit of the art in here too, so you can see what that looks like. Just kind of wipe it off here. Alright, let me catch up here. Missing. Got iced in. Oh yeah, crazy weather today in Wisconsin. I did not have to go out, which is good. So I think, let's see here. Is that? That's pretty good. Let me show you a little bit closer up. So I'm going to stop with the wet sanding at the moment. And I want to show you sort of the transition. Get in there. Sorry, I'm going to focus here. There we go. Okay. So, that's sort of the transition here. You can kind of see that planking still that's on the shiny part and then the non-shiny part. So I'm gonna get my buffer out here. Back you guys up. It's so much nicer having that new mic. So now you don't hear the me moving the camera around. Hopefully you don't. Dog, come on. Get out of here. Come on. Alright. Alright, so I got off track. So a product that I've been using for the last couple restorations, I did 2 alien stars, and I used KBS Diamond Clear. And basically, this is a water-based Um, and no, you don't need any catalyst for this stuff. And if I end up needing to re-clear this playfield, this is what I'll end up using. The nice part is I don't need a paint booth for this. I can literally roll this on with some with a cheap foam rollers that you can get at any hardware store, and you just work with it pretty fast. Obviously, you're gonna wet sand the whole playfield, get everything flat before you do anything. So if I end up doing that, I'll go through the whole process of what I do, so you have the most success with it. But this, I'm just, as you can see, I'm not in a paint booth right now. It does have some smell to it, but I mean, you're not going to be working around it for very long, and you're not atomizing it as you would out of a spray gun. So the health for it is a lot better. And it does take longer to cure, so you want to do it in a place where you don't have like a bunch of dust and bugs flying around. So oh, cool. Well, thanks for hanging out, Mark. I'll keep screwing up your playfield here. So, all right, let me get my buffer out. So this is going to be the only tool that you're going to need. You can cheap out. I'll show you two things here. CNK! What theme is Franchi doing? I don't know. He said he's doing several games. Yes, I am going to power buff this thing. Oh, Mark's back. Alright. So, if you decide to do this, you don't need to go crazy. This, like I said, I have a background in auto body, so this is this is probably like a $350 high-speed buffer. But you don't need to go crazy like that. I think everybody has a drill, or you can go to, anywhere and you need a corded drill. And then you can go on Amazon. This is a 3-inch Velcro buffing pad. It's going to take you a while. I think you can get like 4 and 6-inch different size pads that will make the job faster. But you can do this with a drill, and you just chuck it in here, and it'll give you the same result. Because really, you're just working in small sections anyway. You're not. That's the one thing that I think people make mistakes when they're going to like buff their car or something like that. They put a ton of rubbing compound, and they do this big huge area, and like, oh, now I have all these swirl marks. It's because you're just spreading around the compound, and you're not concentrating in an area. Because what a high-speed buffer does is it's really just fine sanding, and you're working that the pad, and there's several different pads that you can get, and I'll talk about those. That they do different things. There's a different grit, and so you have a grit in your polishing compound, and then you have a grit to your buffing pads. Let me catch up here. Yes. Yeah, basically like a headlight restoring pad. So, okay. All right, let me get this going here. So this is not. I don't even have any Novus. So, when people talk about like, Novus 1, Novus 2, Novus 3 kind of a thing, it's not stuff that I have sitting around. so basically, this would kind of be equivalent to actually a harder version of a Novus 3. And basically, it's a leveling compound, and I'm basically knocking down, I'm getting out, deeper scratches and that. It's basically you're working your way further and further. So this is here's McGuire's. What does this say? With heavy cut, whatever 10 is, should probably be equivalent to 2,000 grit or so. Same kind of thing. This I just got off of Amazon. This one works pretty well because it doesn't bind up. This one's called V32 Extreme Compound. If you do this a lot, like, you'll notice that compounds, they as you add heat to it and you work them, they tend to cake up, especially if you use too much. It'll start to cake up, and you'll kind of see a gunkiness on your Playfield. So hang on, I gotta let a dog out. He's getting crazy. Come on. Alright. So, let me plug this in quick. USG Blue Bottle Auto Glaze. I don't remember USG. I mean, there's all kinds of different ones out there. I know 3M makes several different leveling compounds. McGuire's does. I mean, there's all kinds of different ones. So I guess, I mean, you can readily find this stuff. I think this is at Harbor Freight has this stuff, but you can buy it online on Amazon too. That stuff works pretty dang well. In fact, I'm almost out of that bottle. I bought this V32 just to try it, and it seems to be working pretty well. All right, let me talk about pads real quick. So, like I said, the drill has a smaller one, but you essentially have like wool pads, and you have foam pads, and they're like basically different grits to them. You're going to generate more heat with a foam pad, and there's different I guess grits to them. So this red one would be a heavier grit, this yellow is a little bit less, and then your black or your gray is kind of more of a polishing one. It's like a finer foam. And then with your wool ones, these work good to start, but they can cake up, so you kind of have to like use a screwdriver and get the caked compound out of them after a while. But I'll probably start with this just to cut it, and then I'll move to another pad. So usually I start with this, and then I might move down to the yellow. So I kind of put these two in a similar, like this dissipates heat better than foam. And the reason you want that is you don't want to burn the clear coat. You never ever want to stay in the same spot for a long time. That's why when I'm doing a small area, I want the heat to dissipate quickly. And that's why I want to use this. If I was to do a small area with this at high speed, you could end up burning the clear. And what I mean by that is it will kind of it it'll essentially turn into a sander. Then because essentially that's what it is. You're spending too much time in one area, is what's happening. So, I guess when you're doing this for the first time, you wanna go slow, practice. You can always add more clear, re-clear coat it if you need to. Let me catch up on chat here. Emron paint job. Oh, I bet. Well, see, C&K found a 53 milliliter of Deox for $49. That's about the best price I've ever seen. Nice. Deoxit. I don't think I've used that. Is that like a deoxidizing compound? Like a kind of like something that you use on single stage paint, I think. Comes in a, is that the one in the orange bottle? Anyway. So that's another point. There's essentially two types of paint. All Playfields are. Let me back up here. All modern Playfields are a basically they have a base layer which are typically screen printed, but now modern ones are this happens to be a direct digitally printed Playfield. And the way I can tell that is if you look really close at each color, it's multiple dots, which I'm not a fan of for restoration reasons. But anyway, but then they do a clear coat over top. Whereas like older ones, I don't know if they necessarily did a full clear coat on that, like EM days. That might have been a single stage paint or a gloss ink or whatever. It wasn't necessarily clear coated. The only ones that I really know that are clear coated that were EMs are Zaccaria and Sonic games. But anyway, so I think at least the EMs that I've restored, you can essentially buff that ink or the color, and it will shine up down until you're down to the bare wood. So where am I at? C&K. $3mm tube, which is like 50 drops for $7. Ugh. Oh, so you use that for? Oh, okay. Electronic contact cleaner. I have some of that on the shelf. It's not that expensive. Just contact cleaner. Oh, jeez. QD? This stuff? I don't know. Yeah, that's about the only time I ever use contact cleaner is for like, sometimes you can bring micro switches back to life. The other is, potentiometers. Squirt it in there and just twist it around. A very thin layer of clear lacquer. Okay. Yeah. Right, because there's a fine line between you start taking off the art. So, all right, let me quit yakking so much. So this is gonna make some noise. So what I'm gonna do is probably mute the mic and just turn on my kind of waiting music here. I'm gonna buff this quick. On the high-speed buffer, unlike the drill, I have different speed settings with the dial here. So typically I do about like 1500 or so. You don't need to go super fast, and then I'm just doing this small area, so I'm just going to do about like that. Let me get in closer. Okay, sure I focus this thing. That looks okay. There we go. Okay. Alright, let me mute the mic quick and turn on this. Yep, hang on a second, folks. Well, I just killed my camera, so I need to add a new one here. Give me a second. This, that is fine. All right. Oops. that. And this can go up. Alright. Whoop. I'm back. Alright. Well, I just killed my camera. That's not good. Make sure you get the wire away from the spinning objects. So I'm going to have to crack that thing open and see if I can even attach that. Alright. I'm going to keep it back here and I'm going to do this. So, good. Alright, I'm going to go back to, because it's going to get loud when I'm buffing here. Let me do this. Alright, so, looks like I need to do a little bit more wet sanding to knock it down. Let me break this off. Let me get a clean rag. It certainly helped, but I think I need to go even lighter grit yet. Let me show you what I'm looking at here. Hang on. I gotta brighten up this camera a second. Video. Nope. Brighten it up. Come on. Okay. Okay. Alright. Hopefully you guys can see this. So it's certainly getting better compared to where I didn't do anything. You can still see the planking. So I need to keep going on the wet sanding, but it's coming along. So I might be able to get away with not having to fully re-clear this thing if I can wet sand it and buff it, because if I re-clear it, I'm going to have to wet sand and buff it all anyway. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through. I have to wet sand it anyway. Do all of that, get everything knocked down, and I'll do some more buffing to kind of flatten everything out and get rid of that planking. Because there should be more than enough clear on these reproduction playfields to be able to do that. So, anyway. So I think with that, I just wanted to kind of do this first stream. I don't want to bore you with doing a ton of having you guys watch me sand the thing, but you kind of get the idea. There we go. So once I kind of have to go through each one, work in sections, and then flatten everything out. And then one thing I will note is I typically do not sand the shooter lane until I will do the very end, because you still have to rough that up. But what you can do is you can get a socket that's the same profile, and you can wrap that with the sandpaper and sand your shooter lane. But you don't need to go crazy with that. What else? And so talking about even reproduction playfields, it's a good idea to check the inserts. I've had this with other CPRs. I've re-cleared a skate ball for a friend a while back, and I want to show you this. So on the inserts, I've already checked all of these, and these are good. But this is a trick that I use when I'm touching up inserts. And so I went through and you just take a flashlight and put it behind the insert, and you want to check around the key lines. And the reason I'm doing that is sometimes with when the insert, it's you can kind of see, like, in the case of the friend that I was working on his Playfield, it had cracked and separated. So when the wood and basically when things settled out, the wood shrank a bit and it cracked along the insert there, so it needed to be touched up and then re-cleared. This doesn't have any of that, so that's good. But essentially, go along and you want to check all of your inserts and make sure that you don't have any light coming through on the edges. Because if you're going to re-clear your Playfield, now's your opportunity to touch up those key lines to make sure that you block out that light, and it's going to look a lot nicer when you go to do that. So whenever I'm touching up a Playfield, I always like to do all of my touch-ups, or try to get all of them done on a single layer. I know that some guys like to they'll touch up one spot and then they'll clear it, and then they'll touch up another spot and then they'll clear it. And then what happens is you get a layer, and then the issue with that, as I was talking earlier, is each time that you lay on a layer of clear, you're going to have color in that clear. And so when you go to wet sand it, you could actually be burning through and run into the color. So it would be a heck of a lot better if all of the color is down at the base layer where it's supposed to be. So anyway, I know other guys do it differently, but that's my personal preference. So okay. Alright, so I guess with that, I'm going to end it here. I didn't want to go too crazy with it on this stream. I just really wanted to do my first tech stream on it, and I will kind of work on this as I have time, do some more wet sanding and that, and I'll start it up again once I get to that point, doing a bigger area after I've wet sanded it and buffed it, and kind of show you where I'm at. And then after I do that, I guess I can make a judgment call. Is this something that it needs to get another layer of clear, or do is it going to be good doing the wet sanding and buffing like I'm doing? So anyway, appreciate you watching. If you haven't already, please check out Dave's Arcade on YouTube and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time. Oh, gotta try to fix my Stranger Things clear coat. Stern sent me a kit. It's peeling and chipping pretty bad. Oh man. So I won't jump off quite yet, but I will tell you, if in the spots where it's chipping, so I've had that happen maybe once or twice when it, like, I'm populating a Playfield and you're like pounding in the like the little wire forms and stuff, and so if you just got like a little chip, they might just send you some clear coat, but like I said, a little bit of water-based diamond clear. They don't really sell it in a super small can, so that might not work for you. But this stuff dries super hard, and but you have to be careful where you're dripping it, because I mean it is water based, so you should be able to wipe it up if you know, because you should be able to eyedropper it in that spot wherever you have to chip. But hopefully you still have art underneath where that spot is. But anyway, all right, I'm gonna end the stream here. So appreciate everybody hanging out and watching me kill my camera earlier. So hopefully I can bring that back to life. We'll see. All right, see ya.